what I want to share with you today is the self-discovery and the struggle I went through to accept who I was and who I am. And we go up through ups and downs and we still struggle. I still struggle. But I want you to know that we are all in it together. I am here to tell you, if this woman in front of you speaking to you today can do it, so can you. Then let me repeat. Think it, say it, and do it. Together we can make a difference. We can help each other. We can support each other. And as a woman from the Middle East, as a person that had no rights, no basic human right, I am here to fight. I am here to challenge. I am here to tell you, you have every right to be a human being. You have every right to be who you want to be. So do not allow anyone around you to tell you otherwise. Who am I? I was behind the shadow of somebody all the time till I started my business. And I got to the conference for the first time ever. Network with like-minded people. That's the yeah. Now would you say that's the president? I found myself. So this is the big picture. Don't stay local. Dream big. Aim.
Hi. Good morning, Laura. How are you?
I'm excited, Rebecca. This is a topic that I really love. So I'm prepared. I've got my water and I'm ready for a good old chat.
Nice. We want to welcome everyone to Coffee Talk Live this morning and hope that everyone is ready to learn some things. We are going to be talking about YouTube this morning, how to use YouTube to build your brand and your business. And for a lot of us, we don't really use YouTube. But we know we need to because we know that it is quite the popular platform. So we want to bring on our social media expert and have him kick things off. We're going to ask him some questions, pick his brain a little bit. So Rigel, bring yourself into the studio. Good morning or good afternoon or good evening, Rigel.
Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Rebecca.
What?
I'm glad to be here.
It is great to have you here. So we're going to talk about YouTube this morning, and Rigel and I have lots of conversations offline about my technical inabilities. I am proud to say I set up a YouTube channel.
Yay, Rebecca.
Really have anything on it. But with Rigel's encouragement, I'm kind of stepping out there and taking a leap of faith here. Now, Laura, how about you? You use YouTube, right?
I do. I love it. I'm one of those people, like I'm 38 now, but I was one of those people who in my, I want to say mid 20s, I started watching and I actually built a business from YouTube. I'm not the one I'm currently in, but my first business, I learned how to face paint, how to balloon twist, how to do business things, networking and all that. And it was all from YouTube. And so because I started when I was 25, I now religiously watch it every morning whilst I have a coffee. So I was like, I know how powerful YouTube is. And so I've started a YouTube channel probably, I want to say 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I just think it's really powerful. But when you use it correctly, you can grab a huge following. And that's what I'm working on right now, doing vlogs and content that's really going to help my niche market. And I'm excited to talk about this today with Rigel.
Fantastic. Yeah, I need to follow your lead. So Rigel, let's jump right in and let's talk about YouTube. And let's talk about how popular is YouTube. I mean, like Laura says, it's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Actually, from our Coffee Talk live session last week, I mentioned that Facebook is number one. The
Yes.
number two is actually YouTube. Even though YouTube have is still growing, and it actually grew more from last year. Aside from YouTube, it's also growing up as alongside with Instagram and TikTok. But since we're talking with YouTube right now, I'm just gonna focus with it. But with these three platforms that I've mentioned, what they have in common is they all have video contents that you can consume.
Mhm.
And video has been um many people like find video like an avenue for entertainment and like how to learn some hacks that they can apply at homes. So
Mhm.
YouTube is really growing, and from some studies, I know that I mentioned like last week that Facebook, I mean, Facebook users tends to spend around 19 hours in
Mhm.
Facebook, but out of all of the platforms available, YouTube has the more hours that it's getting. It's
So
around 23.7 hours, so it's almost a full day.
wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I watch it instead of TV because I'm going to learn something. And I just want to share with you is maybe you're watching and you don't know about YouTube or whatever. You're not one of those people like me. For example, I'll follow influencers on YouTube, like fitness ladies, for example. There is a woman called Buff Bunny on YouTube. I've been following for like 8 years. There's also a guy who's a counselor, but he's got this spiritual aspect to business. I follow him. And have I bought their products? Absolutely. I bought both of their products because they've given me content. They've increased the trust in the relationship. And I'm a full on like fan of theirs. So it kind of gives you more of a fan aspect to
Yeah.
your followers than Facebook. There's a different follower, isn't there, Rajal?
Actually, this is one thing that we usually encourage for businesses to provide into their clients. Instead of pushing them to buy your products first, give value to them with your social media platforms before encouraging to buy afterwards. Because
Yeah.
if they
Mm.
will know your services, if they will know what you will do, I mean, what you're doing, you're establishing that trust. And then alongside with that trust, they will buy your product afterwards. So it's kind of bit like building yourself into them by providing consistent contents, getting your name out there into their feeds. As long as you get exposure and they get to know you, you'll be establishing that trust.
Yeah, I will say it did
That's a
take me
great point.
probably a couple of years to buy their products. Like I was just watching them on YouTube and loving their content and learning from them, but I didn't initially buy whatever they had. When they do their launches, then I buy because I just love them. So that's awesome. Rebecca?
Yeah, no, I'm just absorbing all this that y'all are saying, and I know it's just further proof that I need to, dive into my YouTube channel and post things up. Rigel, what do you think holds most people back, or what advice would you give somebody who is new to posting on YouTube and kind of feeling that like me, like I need to do it and I do know
Mhm.
what I could post. I have ideas, but what advice would you give?
Okay.
What encouragement?
Um, I know that I've mentioned this to you, Rebecca, like a lot of times. Since video is a usually, I mean, most uh, part of YouTube are videos. So I would really encourage you to take a long video, like just create a long live video and then cut it out, and then you will have several bunch of contents that you can post in YouTube Shorts, in your YouTube channel. So and then you can also, I'm not sure if I'm describing it right, like you can post these contents not just in YouTube, but you can also put it in Instagram, in Facebook. So creating content wouldn't just be limited in just one platform.
So
Pointed out.
that's a really great point. So when you talk about cross posting like that, so who is on YouTube versus who is on Instagram and Facebook, can you use the same content? Like what is the demographic there for YouTube?
Okay. Um, Based on studies, the most frequent users of YouTube are the same with Facebook last week, which are 25 to 34 years old. So it's
Okay.
the same with Facebook. And then
Yeah.
25 to 34 years old is the top age range. And then it's followed by 35 to 44 years old. But
Okay.
despite this age range, I want you to consider the feature of watching YouTube even though you're not signed up for an account. So that gives you like an anonymity part. So YouTube wouldn't really know your age when you're watching the videos. So
That makes
somehow I
sense.
will consider this a gray area. Because when you try to consume
Definitely.
like contents for Facebook, Instagram, you have to sign up for Facebook or Instagram. But with
Right.
YouTube, you don't have to sign to any accounts.
Oh, good to know. Yeah, that's true. I had not thought about that that aspect. That's very important. So there's a good chance that you are reaching a really broad audience.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's a great point.
It's funny, Rebecca, because I think, and this is just my personal opinion, like I grew up when YouTube launched, when Facebook launched, and I'm in that demographic you just shared. So I wonder if it's got anything to do with that. Like the first ones who first dived into Facebook when their auntie and uncles weren't on there, and then they showed up like a couple of years later and we're like, what's going on here? No, I think it's probably those first users of the platforms, right? Who are now, that's just my opinion though. I think that's fascinating.
I wonder, well, as he was saying that, I was kind of thinking my generation, because I'm Generation X.
Okay.
And so we didn't have social media when we were teens. So we're like, whatever. We use it, but I can definitely see my generation, like that next age bracket, are probably a lot of people who don't sign up for accounts because we're like, no.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we're not watching. It doesn't mean we're not watching. It just
Yeah.
means we're just not going to be official about it. So yeah. So when you said that, it made me think, yeah, there probably is because I don't think about that gray area, that group of people who just don't establish an account, but they are definitely there.
For sure. And what I like about YouTube, just putting in another idea that I had, like we all have smartphones. And why I watch YouTube when I'm drinking my first coffee in the morning is because there's an app on my TV, my smart TV.
Yes.
YouTube app. Yes. And I don't have a YouTube Facebook, you know what I mean? So I was just kind of like, everyone's got a TV.
Right.
I just really like YouTube. That's awesome.
I need to spend more time there. I'm going to take a quick break before the next question and say hello to our viewers. If you are out there and you are watching, we would love if you would say good morning or good afternoon, say hello, tell us where you're from. And if before you comment, if you would give StreamYard permission to use your name, we'll be able to know who you are. If not, just put your name with your comment and we will know. We've got one hello from Norway, and I would bet that is our friend Marina, a fellow Empower Group member and a very talented hairstylist becoming an image consultant. So if that's you, Marina, hello, my friend. For anyone else watching, definitely pop in and say hello. Fariel herself is here. Hello, Fariel. She made the comment that Rigel will be presenting about YouTube this coming May 10th. So that's this coming Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We would love to have anyone join us who would like to know more about using YouTube successfully. You don't have to be an image consultant. You don't have to be a stylist. If you are a small business entrepreneur, you're kind of getting into social media, you're trying to figure out how to build your brand, we would love to have you. And you will find a link also there in the comments that you can go to. You can click on that and register, and you will be sent in a few minutes. You'll receive a VIP pass invitation to join the Empower Group for free. And here, Rigel, we're skimming the surface on purpose today, but Rigel is going to go much deeper in on Tuesday and give us a lot of tips and tricks, um, which will get me to my next question right after I say, hello, Eleonora. She is in Italy and another fellow Empower Group member. We are so glad you're here, and I hope that you're excited for this coming Tuesday. Okay, let's go with our next question here. When we're using YouTube, how do we get the most benefit to our brand and our business?
Okay. Um, for the business, I would actually say it as an advantage, and rather than advantage, I think it's kind of a bit like a double-edged sword, because somehow you can earn money with YouTube through monetization, but you have to take care of like the copyright. So you can earn some money through YouTube when you create
Mm,
contents, but as long as there is no copyright involved, like for the music, because sometimes YouTube can immediately detect if you're using copyrighted music, and you cannot earn any money if YouTube have detected that.
So,
So
on Tuesday, are you going to tell us how to find non-copyrighted music?
I can recommend some sites if you want to. That I can
We'll
include
do
that
that on
also in my
Tuesday.
presentation.
So, if you're watching and you want to know this, you got to come on Tuesday. Okay, anyway, go ahead. More about the advantages. Monetizing. I love the idea.
Mm-hmm. And then it's not in the entrepreneurial side, but it's more of like the end user side. Is you can use it. I mean, you can use YouTube without creating an account. If you want to avoid targeted ads, which will tempt you to buy products or like make any purchase online, I would recommend like using an incognito tab in your browser and then watch your intended videos. In that way, you can just, I mean, YouTube will just show up random ads for you, not like fashion ads or like shopping ads, which really cater for you.
Yes, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about watching it incognito. All the sneaky
Mhm.
things.
Because usually in your browser, there is a thing we called cookies, and these
Yes,
cookies gives information to uh these social media platforms what ads to show to you. So
yes.
if you want to avoid targeted ads, you can open an incognito tab, and then targeted ads won't be shown to you.
These sneaky people with no YouTube account and watching it incognito. We can't find them. So talk about okay, so some of the advantages would be the ability to monetize and to be more interactive and real,
Hmm.
probably, with your
Hmm.
audience. Are there disadvantages to using YouTube, do you think?
Okay. In terms of the monetization side, because if you will, there are some times where in YouTube will suddenly deactivate your YouTube account. Uh, it's some instances, but there are some cases that happen because you're using too much copyright items like music,
Mhm.
and if that happens, sometimes YouTube will deactivate your account, and then you have to appeal to YouTube, and that will take some time. So if you're monetizing your YouTube account, I would recommend using less copyright music if you
Mhm.
can, and publish as much original content, because if you're publishing original content, people will come into you. People will You will establish that trust with people, and then
Mhm.
that's how you can like push your products into them. But in terms of disadvantage, there are some cases that YouTube really do deactivate accounts. And
Wow.
another disadvantage is, since you're watching videos, it will consume a lot of time. So if you're learning or watching YouTube for entertainment, it's going to consume a lot of time.
Yes, I would believe that. And maybe that's why I don't watch YouTube as much. My brain moves too fast. I just can't sit there that long. But I mean, I
Let me ask
know
you
most
this.
people I know can and do.
Rebecca, do you watch
What?
TV?
Not a lot.
Okay, but you do watch it, right? At some
Yes,
point.
from time to time, yes, I
Yeah.
do. I do.
Okay, cool. So for me, it's the same thing. I
Yes.
prefer to watch something that I'm going to learn from than watch
Mhm.
garbage TV that I'm not learning
Right.
anything from.
Agreed. And when I do watch TV, I watch a lot of educational
There you
things.
go.
So I probably am a shoo-in for watching
Yeah.
YouTube. I just don't ever think about it. And I think it goes back to it's just not something that has ever become a stable part of my life,
Yeah.
but probably needs to. So now we've talked a little bit about free and paid aspects of YouTube. Now, is there a paid aspect? I mean, is that monetization? Is that
You get paid through monetization with YouTube.
right?
hmm
So is there a reason, like if you're building a brand and you're like, I've established a YouTube channel, is there a reason I would not shoot for monetization?
Okay. It will actually be up to you if you want to monetize your YouTube account. But if you just want to
Right.
provide value to your clients, you can
Mhm.
show them your YouTube videos, and then you can maybe like do the conversion, or like convert them into sale into the other social media platforms. But
Okay.
I will recommend YouTube, if you're not like a content creator, is to put all the uh, how to like pick the right clothes, how to pick the right color, like all the things that people can learn through videos. We
Mhm.
can put them into YouTube, and then once, because if they will always like watch your videos, you're slowly converting them into fans, and then maybe they will reach out to you through Facebook or Instagram, because that has messaging feature. Because we usually with
Yeah.
YouTube, you can just play some comments, so it will be more
Right.
intimate to like close the sale in
Mhm.
Facebook or in Instagram, or maybe like Zoom call. So
Yes. Very good. That's a great point. So it can't, you don't have to monetize. Laura, have you monetized your YouTube account?
No, it takes a while. So for
Right.
me, how I understand it is you have to continuously and being continuous every single week is the key to getting a great following on YouTube or anything, but definitely YouTube. And the more consistent you are, the more followers you get. And it depends on what kind of video you have as well, because there's like businesses who just go live and share tips and tricks, or there's other people who share their life they call that a vlog, a video blog.
Yes.
And then they will do a different style of video when they're launching a product. For example, they'll show like a
Mhm.
in-depth product journey of creating their clothing and then launching the clothing, and then they'll have influencers going live doing product reviews. So there's so many different types. And
Yeah.
working with Rigel, for example, he can really hone in on that and say, okay, what do you want to achieve? Okay, this is the type of video that you could do in the beginning, and then you can grow on that. So yeah, there's so much to this.
and if you
There
will try to
really
monetize
is.
YouTube,
What's that?
there are actually requirements if you will try to monetize YouTube. I'm not sure if it's still the same requirement, but I think that consists of like 1,000 followers, and
Yes,
there's also a
Yes.
specific watch hour.
yes, yeah.
And if you met that, you can apply for monetization afterwards.
Yes, exactly. And then that's when you see the ads in the videos, because that person who's created the video is getting paid from that commercial. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
I did look it up when I set up my channel. I did look
there
into
are some starting videos, like starting channels, who still get ads, but they don't get paid out of it.
Interesting. That's
Yes,
Well, I didn't know
because
that.
we created a YouTube video actually before for a small business,
uh-huh.
and we were quite confused of why did YouTube like displaying ads in our videos even though we're not
Wow.
monetized.
Now, was that ads through the video or at the beginning and at the end of your video?
It's at the beginning and at the end of the video.
Okay, so maybe that's the difference. You only get paid when the commercials are during the video,
Mhm.
you know. Interesting.
I think you should get paid if they tack a video or tack an ad on there, because as a viewer, I find it annoying to have to sit through the
Well,
ad.
I just refer back to TV.
And if you're not getting paid for it, that's not fair.
I'm not
Totally.
You just refer back to what?
I'm not sure if
You get commercials in TV too, so it's really a similar thing. Money makes the world go around, the world go around.
Did I freeze?
Yes, you did.
yes. Mhm.
Yeah. Of course, every time. Okay, so we're getting down to the end. If you are watching and you have a question about YouTube, we would love to answer any questions about YouTube. And so while we're waiting for people to type things in, I did want to make one mention of something. This past Tuesday, yesterday, we did a deep dive into Facebook, and we talked all about Facebook. And Rigel did share with us the content map, content creation, like how to create a map. And I'm not going to say what it is, because I'm going to say you need to join the Empower group and find out these great things. But it was for someone like me who I love to see a schematic of something, and while you explain it to me, because then my mind can kind of start absorbing it and wrap around. This made it really, really clear to me how I could sit down and in about 30 minutes come up with really a month's worth of content ideas. And then it's just down to plugging them into the content calendar and getting them created and scheduled. So these are the kinds of things that in the Empower group, we love to share with our members to help make their lives and their journeys in entrepreneurship a little bit easier. So we do want to invite you to click on that registry link in the comments and sign up to be a VIP guest and start learning some of these things. And we would love to have you join our community. You can join for as little as $40 a month and get continuous weekly training, motivation, networking, coaching, and just, inspiration to keep going, because it can be lonely.
Yeah.
So let's see if we have any comments posted in.
I'm
Nope, not right
excited,
now.
Rebecca, as you're looking at the comments, but because there's so many masters in their industry, their own industry, coming and sharing their information, which I'm really excited about. Especially that I think there's a hair person coming in to share their knowledge. They've been in the industry for like years. Yes,
I was really excited about that yesterday.
Yeah.
For our viewers who are watching, if you are familiar with Luc Vincent, he is a French Canadian hairstylist. He has a product line of hair products that I think he sells in Europe, and he sells in Canada, and is launching in the US. For anyone who has watched What Not to Wear in the past, it's no longer on the air, but if you did, the hairstylist Nick Arrojo, Luc Vincent used to do that for Canadian What Not to Wear. And I mean, we had a bona fide celebrity hairstylist in our midst. So this is a fantastic group to be a part of. And he is going to be presenting to our group later in the summer, talking about how to choose hairstyles based on face shape, something we can all use. Even if you're not an image consultant, you may want to know that. You may want to be part of this community.
Love it.
Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. If you have just not typed your question in, you can still post it in the comments on this video, or if you're watching in replay, you can still post questions in the comments and we'll still answer them. We're still here for you, even though we stop recording. Okay, let's give last words of advice and wisdom. Laura, do you have anything to say about YouTube?
Oh, I just say dive in and figure it out. Literally, everyone has information that they can share that's going to help at least one person, right? So just find the fun, dive in and do it. But of course, it's always a lot easier and quicker when you pay a professional. So yeah, getting a strategy is always a lot easier because you can like eliminate years off the YouTube journey and actually monetize way quicker. So use a professional if you can.
That's great advice. Rigel, what is your advice?
I would recommend utilizing or maximizing the feature of YouTube Shorts. I'm not sure if you heard of it, but it's similar to Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels. So if you're familiar with those two portrait like videos, like Instagram story like videos, even though people are not following you, people can find you in YouTube Shorts. So if ever you start creating your content for Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and YouTube Shorts, because you're going to really reach a lot of people.
Fantastic advice. I don't know that I have any advice to give, but I'm going to follow the advice that YouTube just gave, and I'm going to dive in and have fun. I'm going to check out those YouTube shorts and yeah, maybe get some professional help. Because I think it is definitely a route to go. All right, that's all we have for today. Again, we would love to see you in the Empower group this coming Tuesday for a deep, deep dive into YouTube. We barely skimmed the surface and just gave you a teaser of some of the things that we will be talking about on Tuesday. So definitely click the link in the comments or email us. I am Rebecca at byfariel.com. You can send an email to info@byfariel.com, and we would be happy to send you an invitation or answer any questions you have. So that's all for today. We will see you hopefully Tuesday, but definitely next Wednesday at 11 Eastern.
Bye, everyone.